All right, guys, welcome back to Maverick Overland Adventures. We have huge news coming from Ford this past week. After many months of rumors and false information and speculation floating around the internet, Ford has finally gone and released the spec sheets for all 5 of the trim levels for the upcoming and highly anticipated model year 2025 Maverick. This model year is a huge deal because not only does it mark the first facelift that Ford will ever do on the Maverick since its initial release back in 2022, but they're really stepping up their game for this model year and starting to implement some of these things that customers have been asking for the past 3 years. Some huge things that are really going to push the bounds and take the Maverick to that next level. Now, I have both of the official spec sheets that have been released right here on my phone. The first one is 22 pages of extremely detailed information, and then the second one is quite lengthy too. So we're gonna go through and we're just gonna touch on all that new stuff, the exciting things, and the things that just really stand out to me in this document. And what I am gonna do is I'm gonna put both of these documents down below for you guys in the description. You can go and download the PDFs from there, and then you can go through all of this information as you wish. So to get us started off, I wanna start by looking at some of these technical specs for the engines. Maverick is still gonna offer 2.5 liter hybrid and the 2.0 EcoBoost for this coming model year, with the 2.0 being the standard option. If you want the hybrid, you can pay extra for that one. Your hybrid powertrain, you're gonna be looking at 191 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 155 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. When you move over to your EcoBoost, you're looking at 238 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 275 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000. So they've actually dumbed down the horsepower just a little bit from the previous generations. The previous version of this engine was a 250 horsepower engine, and now it's 238. Now, with the powertrain stuff out of the way, let's get into the fun stuff here. So this is the very first page of that 22-page document. This page is titled Major Product Changes. So this is going to just blanket all of the trim levels and just kind of go through and list all of the major things that they've added to the trucks and things that they've deleted from the trucks. So the very first thing that we come to on here is it lists all 5 of the trim levels. So they have added 2 new trim levels for model year 2025. You're still gonna have your XL, your XLT, and your Lariat trims, just like you have in previous model years. However, this year, they've added the Tremor as its own trim level. So before, the Tremor was a package that you could add to the XLT or the Lariat trims. Now it gets its own trim level, which I think is super cool because it's a much different truck than the other 3 standard trim levels. And then the one that people have really been talking about, that is the Lobo trim. So they have finally confirmed that there will be a performance version of the Maverick coming for this model year. Now, the next thing that we come to is a category called mechanical, and they're getting right to the point on the spec sheet because the very first thing that we see under mechanical is the big one that everybody has been requesting since the very beginning. It's finally confirmed they're going to be getting a 2.5 liter hybrid all-wheel drive system for the Mavericks. And they decided to take it a step further, now offering the 4K tow package on the hybrid as well if you add all-wheel drive, which, thinking about it, I actually kind of think that's a little bit weird considering the truck is only making 155 foot-pounds of torque. We're gonna have to see how that works out towing up to 4,000 pounds, but at least it's an option that you can add now. And additionally, directly under the hybrid all-wheel drive, they have another one listed that everybody's been asking for since the very beginning: paddle shifters on the Maverick. And the paddle shifters are going to be standard on the Lobo and the Tremor. Another thing that they've changed is all-wheel drive is now going to be standard on your Lariat trim. So if you pay the extra money and you get that Lariat trim, which is your high-end luxury trim package, they're going to give you all-wheel drive for free. The 2.5 liter hybrid is going to be a front-wheel drive standard. So if you do want the all-wheel drive on your hybrid, you are going to have to pay extra for it. It's not going to come standard like it is now on the EcoBoost. That's another big one. The EcoBoost is completely eliminating front-wheel drive. They're not going to have any front-wheel drive EcoBoost anymore. If you want an EcoBoost, you're only going to be able to get it in all-wheel drive. And LED projector headlamps are now going to be standard on the Lobo, the Lariat, and the Tremor trim. So the Tremor not only is it its own trim level now, but it's also going to get some of those luxury features that you're going to be seeing like on the Lobo and on the Lariat, including those LED headlights. Below that, we have new colors, and there's some really cool ones in here. Eruption green, we're finally getting a green color for the Maverick. We're also getting a new version of white called Space White Metallic, Ruby Red Metallic, and Velocity Blue. Colors that they're getting rid of: Atlas Blue Metallic, Cactus Gray, which I think is a weird one. A lot of people really like Cactus Gray. Hot Pepper Red, and the iconic Silver Metallic. All right, now, Below the exterior stuff and the cosmetic stuff, we come to another huge one that everybody's been asking for. They are finally getting rid of that little cubby next to the screen, and we're now going to have a nice large 13.2-inch landscape center screen, and they even took it a step further for us with that increased screen size, and they will now be installing Sync 4 as a standard option across all trim levels, getting rid of Sync 3, meaning that now you'll have the option to use your wireless Apple CarPlay or your Android CarPlay, and you won't have to plug it in anymore. And theoretically, the screen should probably work a whole lot better and be a lot less glitchy. Another thing that I'm seeing here is we are going to be getting intelligent access push button start as standard on the XLT trim. Then we've got Ford Copilot 360 is going to be optional on your XL and your XLT, but it's going to come standard on your Lariat. This one here is something that really stood out to me. The FX4 off-road package is now only going to be optional on the XLT. It will no longer be available on your XL or your Lariat. Only on the XLT you'll be able to get that FX4 off-road package. We have a 360-degree camera is going to be standard on your Lariat and your Tremors. And then the final thing I see on here is it looks like a power moonroof is going to be an option that you can add to your Lobo. And it looks like they are going to be changing the gauge cluster productivity screen from that small little one to a full 8-inch screen that's going to be between your gauges. And from what I saw, it looks like they're going to be including that on not only the upper level trims, but also the basic bare bones XL as a standard option. Now we start getting down into the next few pages where they break it up per trim level, and they literally list every single possible option and add-on and accessory and package and everything that you can do to each of these trim levels. So again, we're not going to go through every single one of these, especially for the XL. The XL is the first one we get to. That's just your basic bare bones truck, really what the Maverick was supposed to be in the first place. So everything on here looks pretty much the same, but a couple things that did stand out to me. It looks like they're going to be adding the 6-point tie downs as a standard option in the rear bed. And to me, that just makes sense, because if this is the truck that people are buying for work purposes, you would want those tie downs back there more so than maybe some of the other luxury trims that people aren't really going to be using for work all that much. Everything else for the most part, it looks the same. You're still going to have like your manual locking tailgate and your basic manual seats. Nothing too special going on in the interior. For your packages for the XL, very basic. You have two, your 4K tow package and your Ford Copilot 360 package. Your 4K tow is going to include your trailer brake assist, trailer hitch with the 2-inch receiver and the 4-pin and 7-pin connectors, your transmission oil cooler, upgraded cooling fans, you're going to get a full-size spare tire, and if you have the EcoBoost, you're going to get a higher capacity radiator. If you have a hybrid, you don't get the higher capacity radiator. That's going to be an EcoBoost option only for that 4K tow package. For your Ford Copilot 360, you've got quite a few things that adds to the XL. The main ones are going to be your auto high beams, your blind spot indicators, cross traffic brake assist, evasive steering assist, lane keeping system, intersection assist, pre-collision assist. It's going to give you a rear view camera and rear parking sensors. And then below that, it just goes through and it lists all of the accessories and different options that are available. All of these look pretty much exactly the same as they have in years past, so we're not even going to bother going through those. Let's move on to a more exciting trim level, the next one in the lineup, and that's going to be your XLT. That's what I have. I love my XLT. The XLT is the version of the truck that's kind of right in the middle between being a utilitarian work truck that you can take out, beat up, take to the hardware store, and also you get some of those nicer amenities inside the cab and things that just make it a little bit more comfortable and a little bit nicer to drive. So with your XLT trim, you get quite a few more options. It's going to include everything that the XL trim includes, plus you're going to get 17-inch painted aluminum wheels, so you're not going to get the steelies that you get on the basic XL. You'll get actual decent wheels. You're going to get that cubby storage space back in the bed. You get your cargo tie downs plus 4 additional ones. Your mirrors are going to be manual folding, but they will have power glass, so you'll be able to adjust your mirrors from inside the cab. You get a power tailgate lock, whereas the XL has a manual tailgate lock, and you get the wiper activated LED headlamp. So if it starts raining and you turn your wipers on, that's automatically going to turn your headlights on as well. You're going to automatically get a 2K trailer hitch with the 4-pin connector, not the 4K tow package, but just a standard trailer hitch that can tow 2,000 pounds. And then you're going to get the intelligent access with the push button start. And I'm guessing that intelligent access probably means keyless entry. But again, as a standard option on the XLT, you will now get push button start. Super cool. Same powertrains apply. You can get all-wheel drive on either of those. And then we get into the packages that you're able to option. And for the XLT, you have quite a few more. You've got your XLT luxury package. The XL for this model year does not have a luxury package. You also have a black appearance package, your 4K tow package, and your FX4 off-road package, and your Ford Copilot 360 package. So the XLT, just by going to that trim level, not only do you get more things included in the first place, but you have a lot more things that you can also additionally add on that you can't add on if you have an XL. For example, your XLT luxury package is going to give you your 8-way adjustable power driver seat. You're going to get the 400-watt inverter in the cab, heated mirrors with black painted skull caps. You are going to get heated seats and a heated steering wheel wrapped in soft vinyl, LED box lighting for the rear bed, and you're going to get the remote start system actually programmed into your key fobs. For your black appearance package, you're going to get 19-inch aluminum wheels wrapped in 225, 55, 19 tires. Personally for me, I think with the 19-inch wheels, I would have liked to see them be a little bit wider and have a little bit wider tire on. You're going to get your black hood decal, your black roof, black Ford logos front and back. You're going to get a black painted grille, your painted side mirrors. The seats in the black appearance package are also going to be different than just your standard XLT navy pure. However, there is a note here that says the overall theme of your interior is going to stay that navy pure. So your seats are probably going to be a darker color, but the rest of the interior, like your dash and your door cards, are going to remain the same as they do in the standard XLT. Then we've got our 4K tow package. That's exactly the same as it is on the XL and the same as it's been for previous model years, so we don't need to go through that. We've got our FX4 package, which is pretty much exactly the same as it is on previous model years. We've got the 17-inch wheels and the all-terrain tires, exposed front tow hooks. You're going to get your FX4 decal, your hill descent control, your off-road screen, and the instrument cluster, which again is now going to be 8 inches. Your performance off-road suspension, higher capacity radiator, upgraded cooling fans, full-size spare tire. Then below that, we've got our Ford Copilot 360, and this looks pretty much the same as it does on the XL. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So then we get to our Lariat trim, and the Lariat is going to be the high-end luxury version of the Maverick. This is the one that you're going to buy if you're somebody that wants comfort, you want all of those nice amenities like heated steering wheel, heated seats, nice leather look interior, and all that stuff that really makes a vehicle feel a lot more expensive and a lot nicer. Now the Lariat, of course, being the high luxury trim level of the Maverick, is going to include everything that the XLT and the XL below it include, plus all of its own standard options. So for example, with the Lariat, you're now going to get 19-inch aluminum wheels. You're going to get bed tie downs with the rails that run down the side, which on the XLT you have to pay extra for those. You're going to get a standard spray and bed liner. You're going to get the cubby storage on the driver and the passenger side in the bed. Your mirrors, your door handles, and your front grille are all going to be painted and look a lot nicer than your standard plastic on the lower trim levels. You're going to get LED bed lighting, LED projector headlamps. On the Lariat, you're also going to get heated side mirrors, you'll get heated seats, and you're also going to get a heated soft touch vinyl wrapped steering wheel, which is a really nice, comfortable feature. Now, another one that it looks like they've added for this model here that a lot of people are going to be really stoked about is it looks like they finally added the power sliding rear window. And then finally for the interior, more big news, they've finally redone the Lariat interior. So traditionally on the previous 3 model years, the Lariat has had its own nicer, more luxury feeling interior. So it's going to be brand new seats for the Lariat. They're going to have that nice leather look to them. You're going to also have a lot of new accents within the cab. So the cab of the Lariat is going to feel a lot nicer and look a lot more luxury than the lower trim levels. And then for your functional options on the Lariat, you're also going to get a 400-watt inverter in the cab and in the rear bed. You're going to get upgraded sound system with nicer speakers than the lower trim levels. You're going to get your remote start system programmed into your key fobs. And then the next thing that we come to is the Ford Copilot 360 Assist 2.0. It looks like on the Lariat, the Copilot 360 Assist 2.0 is in fact different. It includes all of the standard content from the previous trim levels plus the following. You're going to get a standard 360-degree camera, adaptive cruise control, so that's going to give you your lane centering, your predictive speed assist, and your stop and go, which is a really cool feature if you're sitting in stop and go traffic. The truck will actually use that adaptive cruise control to drive itself and stop, go as the cars in front of you are moving, so you don't really have to do anything. You're going to get auto high beams, your blind spot assist, evasive steering assist, front parking sensors, intersection assist, lane keeping system with road edge detection, post collision braking, rear parking sensors, reverse brake assist, plus all of the other things that are included for the Copilot 360 on the lower trim levels. And Ford Copilot 360 is a standard option on the Lariat now. So all of that stuff that we just listed, you're automatically going to get just for purchasing the Lariat trim. And then we come to our packages that you're able to option onto the Lariat for an additional price. Now, there's only 2 of them, and the reason for that, one, you're not able to get the FX4 package, of course. We talked about that a second ago, but the main reason is because everything that is in the packages for the other trim levels is already a standard option on the Lariat. So there's no real need to have like a luxury package or any of that other stuff anymore, because you're going to get all of that stuff as a standard option. The only 2 packages that you're going to be able to add to the Lariat trim are the black appearance package and the 4K towing package. So your black appearance package for the Lariat is pretty much exactly the same as it is on the XLT trim. You're going to get the 19-inch black wheels. Your hood's going to be painted black. Your mirrors, your grille painted black. You're going to get a black hood decal. Your seats are going to be darker. So even though the Lariat trim has its own unique color scheme for the seats on the inside, if you get the black appearance package, you're going to get the darker colored seats. There's also going to be some darker colored interior trim. Your 4K tow package is pretty much exactly the same as it is on the other trims too. This trim does come in the 2.5 liter hybrid, the 2.0 EcoBoost, and you can option all-wheel drive on either of those 2 powertrains. Now we get into the 2 new trims, and this is where I'm very, very excited. The first one that I want to cover is, of course, the Tremor. And of course, standard, it's going to come with a lot of different stuff than you're able to option onto the other trim levels, because the Tremor is geared more towards the off-road crowd, overlanding and going down trails and that kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot more off-roady and more rugged, hardcore kind of options than there are going to be even on the FX4 packages for the other trims. So on our mechanical category, we have 4-wheel drive lock, advanced 4-wheel drive with twin clutch rear drive unit, heavy duty transmission cooler, off-road tuned suspension, rear drive unit lockers, and your selectable drive modes including normal, tow haul, slippery, mud and ruts, and sand. And what all of this means is that this coming model year for the Tremor is a huge step forward for the Maverick in entering that realm of off-road capable vehicles where it really hasn't been before. Even the Tremor in previous model years hasn't been as capable as what this model year's Tremor is going to be. Features that we're seeing here, like the 4-wheel drive lock and the rear drive unit lock and the advanced 4-wheel drive with twin clutch rear drive unit, this model year for the Tremor is giving the driver a lot more control of the drive system, a lot more similar to a traditional 4-wheel drive vehicle. But the Tremor trim doesn't stop there. You also get a lot more features that are really cool and unique to only the Tremor trim. Starting with your 17-inch wheels, these are going to be that dark aluminum color with the orange painted pocket accents, and those are going to be wrapped in 235/65/17 tires. You also are going to get a full-size spare tire standard on the Tremor, but unfortunately, again, we see that it's not actually a full-size spare that matches the rest of the wheels and tires. It's going to come in a 215/70R17 tire. So if you're out off-roading and you run into a situation where you blow a tire, you're unfortunately going to have this really skinny, probably, road-rated tread tire that isn't really going to help you out of the situation that you might be in. You're also going to get the other accents like your chrome headlamps and tail lamps and your black edition Ford logo. And then we get into some more like functional stuff for off-roading, like the front bumper with the improved approach angles. You're going to have your front skid plates with your underbody protection, your front tow hooks, and those are going to be painted in that Tremor orange. You're also going to have Tremor edition painted door handles, lower door accents, and you're also going to get a Tremor fender badge with the orange accents. And then you're going to get that unique Tremor front grille with the orange accents that's going to look very different than any of the other trim levels of this truck and make it really stand out against those. And then for your interior on the Tremor trim level, you're going to get all-weather floor mats front and back, and you're also going to get an off-road screen in your cluster. And that's going to list off things like the angle that the truck is at and what tires are receiving power as you're climbing over obstacles and all that kind of stuff that you would want in an off-roading situation. The Tremor package is also going to include a 2K trailer hitch with the 4-pin connector. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to add the 4K tow package to the Tremor trim level, just like we've seen in previous model years. And the reason for that, if you don't already know, is because the Tremor suspension is going to be tuned a lot differently and a lot softer than what would allow you to be able to tow 4,000 pounds. But at least you'll get the 2K trailer hitch as a standard option on the Tremor. You won't have to pay extra for it. So that's kind of cool. You're gonna get your 400 watt inverter in the cab and the bed cubby with USB. That's gonna be standard options on the Tremor, which is really nice. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be using these for like overlanding and camping, that kind of stuff. So having those inverters with the USB even in the bed is gonna be really cool. And then we get to a feature that is really exciting. I know a lot of people are pretty stoked for this, but the Tremor is now going to also include trail control, sort of like a cruise control for when you're on the trail. So if you're under a certain speed and you're going down a trail, you can set this trail control, and it's going to keep that speed for you so you can focus on steering over ruts and, you know, steering around obstacles and that kind of stuff. And it just limits one thing that you have to do so you can focus all of your attention on, you know, the obstacles that you're trying to avoid or climb over. There's no packages that are going to be available for the Tremor, but that actually makes sense because there's really nothing that you can option onto the Tremor. You can't put the FX4 off-road package on because you already have the way better Tremor package. You can't put the 4K towing package on it because of what we just talked about with the suspension, and you can't put the black appearance package on it because it already has its own really cool Tremor appearance package. However, the thing that it does have going for it is the Tremor now being its own trim, it's actually tiered above the Lariat. So everything that comes standard on the Lariat, you're also going to get standard on the Tremor. So you're going to get your Copilot 360 as a standard option. You're going to get all of those nice luxury options that the Lariat gets on your Tremor. You're also going to get the paddle shifters. So in addition to everything that we've already talked about that's going to make this truck a lot more off-road capable than the other trim levels, you're going to be able to keep it in a lower gear manually versus letting the computer system and the transmission do it itself. Now, the one thing that is worth noting is the Tremor is only going to be available in the 2-liter EcoBoost. You're not going to be able to option the hybrid or even the all-wheel drive hybrid powertrain on this truck. Overall though, I think this Tremor trim level for this model year is going to be a serious game changer for the Maverick in terms of being off-road capable. I'm really excited to see what this thing can do when people start getting their hands on them and doing like reviews on YouTube and stuff. I think that this is going to be an awesome truck. And then we get to the fifth and potentially the most exciting trim level of the Maverick, the Lobo. And essentially what the Lobo is it's Ford's answer to all the people that have been asking for an ST variant of the Maverick since the very beginning. This is going to be a version of the Maverick geared more towards performance. It's going to be lowered, it's going to be geared differently and tuned differently, and really just meant to be driven fast and corner hard and have fun in, while also still maintaining those aspects of being a small, relatively fuel efficient truck that you can put the family in and go to the grocery store or go to the park. So on the trim level lineup, the Lobo is going to tier between the XLT and the Lariat. So everything that comes standard on the XLT, you're also going to get on the Lobo, plus the following features. So the first major thing that you're going to get are the 19-inch turbofan style black painted wheels. And these are the ones that I'm sure you've seen pictures of. They've been circulating around online. A lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them, but everybody has been arguing about them. Personally, I think they're awesome, and I think they suit this trim level really well. I think a lot of the people that just despise how these things look don't actually know why they look like that. What they remind me of are actually the salad spinners that were on the C4 Corvettes back in the day. But I think that those are some of the coolest wheels ever designed, but really the reason that that style wheel is going on this performance version of the Maverick is it's not so much how they look, but it's actually functionality, believe it or not. The way that those wheels are designed and why they're probably called turbofans is because the way that the spokes are, it actually fans air from the outside onto the brakes to help cool the brakes down when you're driving aggressively, which you probably will be in a performance version of the vehicle. So it actually makes a lot of sense why these wheels would be on the Lobo trim when you actually know what that style wheel is designed to do. You're also going to get Black Edition Ford logos on the front and back. You're going to get a black painted roof. You're going to get the Maverick Lobo fender badge. You're going to get fog lamps, which I think is a really cool option. And surprisingly, I didn't see fog lamps on the Tremor trim, which I have pulled up on the computer screen right here. There's no fog lamps on the Tremor as far as I know. And being an off-road trim, you'd think that they probably would have put the fog lamps, especially since they obviously already have the part available for it. But That's something that's going to be unique to only the Lobo trim. You're going to get fog lamps on there. You're also going to get the LED box lighting in the bed. You're going to get the LED projector headlamps that you're going to see on the Lariat and the Tremor. Those are also going to be standard on the Lobo. And you're also going to get signature accent lighting and LED tail lamps on the Lobo, and those two are specific to the Lobo, I believe. You're also going to get painted bed rails. So on the rest of the trims, the bed rails have that black protective plastic that's unpainted. They're actually going to paint it on the Lobo to match the body color. You're also going to get painted door handles and a tail latch. You're going to get painted grille accent bar, painted rear bumper, painted rockers, and a unique front fascia. Also on the Lobo, in terms of appearance, we're going to have some different things going on the interior as well, starting with the seat stitching. It's going to be kind of this throwback to like that mini truck, like graffiti kind of era, and you're going to have this colorful stitching that goes around the seat, and the seats themselves are also going to be unique to the Lobo, and they're going to be custom stitched and have a completely different look than the rest of the trim levels. And that same stitching that's on the seats is also going to be on the steering wheel as well. Now, something that is cool for the Lobo trim is even though it includes all the stuff that the XLT does and not the Lariat, you are still going to get Ford Co-Pilot 360 as a standard option on the Lobo. It's not the Assist 2.0 that the Lariat sees, but it is the XLT version of the Ford Co-Pilot 360 as a standard option that you don't have to pay any extra money for. Now, I'm sure some of you might have noticed that I actually skipped the mechanical category before going into the exterior, and I did that on purpose because the mechanical category for the Lobo is pretty cool. I'm really excited about it, so I decided to save the best for last. So some of the things that make the Lobo very, very unique in terms of being a performance street truck that we don't see on any of the other trim levels is you're going to have a 7-speed quick shift transmission, whereas the other automatic transmissions on your EcoBoost for all the other trims are going to be an 8-speed, just like we've seen on previous model years. This one is going to be a 7-speed. As far as I'm understanding, it's going to be the same transmission, but it's going to be geared differently, and I think they actually removed one of the gears. Power band for that gear is going to be a lot longer and allow you to have a lot more acceleration and power as you go through that gear before you skip to the next gear. So that's going to give you just a lot more power and a lot more acceleration on this truck than you'll see on the other ones. Additionally, you're also going to have the paddle shifters on the Lobo that we're seeing on the Tremor. So not only will you have that additional power and that additional potential acceleration, but you'll also be able to use those paddle shifters to control when the truck shifts, which could potentially even give you a little bit more power because you can wait to shift a little bit longer than the automatic transmission shifting itself potentially would. Something else that's really cool that we're going to be seeing on this Lobo trim is the advanced four-wheel drive with the twin clutch rear drive unit that's going to be available on the Tremor. You're also going to get as a standard option on the Lobo. So this will definitely be useful for hard aggressive driving and hard accelerating or hard cornering, that kind of stuff. It's going to help you control the truck a little bit better than it would if you didn't have that twin clutch rear drive unit. The next one on here is kind of goofy. Electronic sound enhancement. I'm pretty sure what they mean by that is if you've ever heard like some vehicles have fake electronic engine noises that make it sound, you know, cool or whatever, and it's just playing like engine noises through a speaker at you. I think that's what it's going to be. I've always thought that those are really cheesy. Anyway, though, you are also going to get enhanced brakes, so you're going to have a lot more stopping power than you would on your normal trim levels of the Maverick. You're going to get those paddle shifters, your performance drive mode. So just like the Tremor has its own Tremor drive mode, the Lobo is also going to have a Lobo mode geared towards performance and track driving. And then finally for this trim level, we're going to see performance tuned steering and tuned suspension. So just like the Tremor has its suspension tuned specifically for off-roading, the Lobo trim is going to have its suspension tuned specifically for aggressive, fast street driving. So it's going to be stiffened up, it's going to be lowered, and paired with the performance tuned steering, both of those options are going to really help you get around those corners while going fast and hard accelerate, and really just that aggressive street performance kind of driving that owners are probably going to be doing with this truck. Now, one more thing to note with the Lobo trim is just like the Tremor, you're not going to be able to get this in the hybrid powertrain. The Lobo is only going to be available in the 2-liter EcoBoost, and that is paired with the advanced four-wheel drive system and a 7-speed quick shift transmission. That's the only powertrain option you get. Again, it makes sense. You don't really need hybrid fuel efficiency if you plan on driving this thing fast and aggressive and just burning through fuel. It just doesn't make any sense. So that is your Lobo trim. I personally am really excited for this trim. I think it's going to be a really cool option, and this is something that a lot of people have been asking for. This is one of the most highly desired options that people have been asking Ford to do since the very very beginning, and they're finally doing it, and it's going to be really cool to start seeing these things driving around out there on the street, especially after owners start doing all kind of modifications and making them even faster and even more performance oriented than they already come. It's going to be awesome to see. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a ton of fun reading through these spec sheets and seeing all of this new and really exciting stuff that's coming for this model year. I know a lot of you guys are extremely excited as well. Again, both of these spec sheets, the one that we went through that lists all the options and packages, and then the other one that's all the technical stuff. I'm going to put both of those spec sheets down below in the description for you guys to go through at your own pace. You can look at all the stuff that we skipped, and if you're not subscribed already, consider doing so. We do pretty much everything Maverick related on this channel, from these podcasty type informational videos to the Overland build that I'm working on my truck currently, to videos actually going out and taking the Maverick off-roading and overland camping and all kind of stuff. So if any of that stuff sounds interesting, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.